Yes, that's good. Bill, Helen, Lynn, Susan, Frank, Stephen, Chuck, Tom, all here and present. Any announcements?
One thing, I remember last year in December, we had like a little, at one of our meetings, we had a little holiday party. I remember I bought those at Lowe's, I got that sandwich platter, and I bought that, everybody else brought something. Any interest in doing it again?
Sure, yeah.
But you guys will be gone on the 3rd, right?
Yes.
So, the 17th.
That'd be a good day to hold it, or is that what you're suggesting, Frank?
Yeah, because I think the 17th is the other day then in December.
Yes.
What day is that? Is that Tuesday?
On December 17th would be our second meeting of that month.
Might have to sing happy birthday to me.
Okay. All right, so we'll have a double
Whose
win.
birthday?
Sadly, but we can do it.
Is your birthday, Susan? Oh, perfect, we have a birthday cake.
I don't think we want to be here for December 31st. There is 3 Tuesdays in that month.
Well, you won't be back, that would be after Christmas.
Yeah.
You won't be
You'll
back.
be back on
We come back the 13th.
You're 4 days
You
too.
will be back, cool.
So we'll do it the 17th then.
Yes.
And I'll put out an email so anybody that, is not here today, to let them know. And just see if they're, because even if we have this size, it would be fine, you know?
We could make it like lunch, right?
That's what we did, we had the meeting and then we just took afterwards and just had the lunch and the way we had done, I have to pull up the email from last year. I bought the sandwiches and they were little mini sandwiches and everybody else just bought something to go with it or a dessert and then drinks. So,
Fun.
Good idea.
Thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah, thank you.
And last year we did something with volunteering some cards to the.
Yeah, we're not going to do that this year.
It's too much work.
Well,
That's okay.
the person in charge of it priced them too high.
Yeah,
So there were tons of them left over. I just felt like we did all this work for not much, so. Thank you for mentioning it though. Sure, it's fun. Yeah, it was. Nobody said anything, so. Bill's book.
There is something,
There's a reverb going on,
yeah,
probably because the computers
You return
might
it
start
off?
picking it up.
it's not working.
then you got out.
Oh, there's no battery.
I'm going to say again in defense of all of us that are trying, and me in particular, there has been another update of Zoom, and I don't know whether that's changed things or not, but obviously my microphone is on. I'm reading the audio as I bounce on the microphone. My video is on, and so it's the same problem that we had at the beginning with Tom. So let's just forge ahead and see if it good jumps when I share my screen. Well, there I am.
Oh, that's all that counts.
You shrank.
Yeah, I know. My computer is an exhibit of things that should be cleaned up. Okay.
Nice.
Now, I have not started sharing, so I need to,
Fingers crossed.
well, all right. Where are my windows? Oh, jeez. Here we go.
Is it that green?
Yes, I had to get to that menu. That was the problem. Share. Yes. This is Stevens.
Yeah, that's Ben Owens from down in Jugtown. I think does beautiful work. He especially likes reds, that's kind of his specialty.
I'm sorry, who is it?
Who is it?
Ben Owens.
Oh, Ben Owens the third,
Yeah,
okay.
he's kind of, his grandfather,
At the bottom,
Ben
I think,
Owens,
Mike,
the
those
first
three.
was kind of the founder of Jugtown. And he's, you know, a 50, 60-year-old guy at this point himself. He's been doing it kind of all his life, but if you have not been down there, you know, it's a nice place to go. People are, you know, throwing pots and doing their work there.
And where is it?
Zero.
Zero, okay, all
In
right.
that picture, because it is like shiny
places.
red,
Yeah.
and it almost looks like glass.
It does, I thought it was
Oh,
glass, yeah.
Yeah,
I have a piece very similar to that at my house. They're not horrible, but the one I have, you can't use as a vase, it doesn't hold water.
oh,
Really? What if they tell you that? I mean, oh, that's beautiful, the way the shadow is.
Yeah, I like that shadow. So what, you had a light shining on it from the
yeah, I
side?
was, you know, shooting flash at it,
Ah,
kind of a diffused flash. But,
The one thing I like,
wrestled with the idea of getting rid of the shadow, and sort of, I didn't, not so much for aesthetic reasons, because I wasn't technically skilled enough to do it without screwing it up.
I think the shadow adds something. And the fact that it's absolutely perfectly centered behind the red.
Hey, Tom, what would you do with this?
Oh, I'd certainly like the shadow. I might make it darker, maybe make the shadow a little darker.
I thought maybe we'd consider them ears and maybe put. That's the first thing that I saw.
That's good.
I actually have a vase that has a face like that on, or,
Yeah,
What do they call those, face mugs or?
no, it's that big Ritzenhoff.
Oh, that one.
Yeah. Well, good shot, Stephen.
I thought it was glass.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's a really shiny finish.
Yeah.
Yeah, whilst I'm talking, I'm gonna be going up to Sylvan Heights Bird Park in a week or two, and I'll be happy if anybody wanted to come, let me know. And I guess I was more generally wondering, we did that as a group a while back, and
It was fun.
nice kind of, you know, field trip kind of thing. It was, I would like to see us doing more of those kinds of things together. I enjoy shooting with other people,
Well-
and I think you learn a lot.
Shooting other people?
yeah.
Never mind.
Well, I'm dropping the lid in there. Yes,
Well, get me or Helen the information when you're going, and we'll publicize it.
I'll leave it just kind of open and we can find the time, yeah, because I've got some flex. If
Okay,
anybody wants to go, we'll just find a time that will work for
okay.
2 or 3 or however many people might want to go.
We had dog boarding that problem that day, I think, the last time. So,
Or I got sick. I woke up with a fever.
oh, an even better excuse, so. All right, thanks, Stephen.
They all packed and ready to go.
This is Susan's first.
And this is for the odd shapes. And it is a
okay.
mushroom growing out of a tree. The picture was with my iPhone. It is actually very blurry, and I was trying to do anything I could to make it less blurry. And so I did some stuff to try to sharpen it. But I really liked the shape of the mushroom and never went back to take the picture with my camera.
Uh-huh.
So this is how it turned out.
This is a weird mushroom year.
No,
Everywhere you look, there's art and mushrooms.
Yeah,
And I also turned it into black and white because
that added.
That was good.
the color, like I said, it's blurry if you look at it, it's
Color distracted from it. Yeah, it's nice. A good idea.
And diagonal.
And I look at it and I see the two going up and back. It almost makes you think of maybe an eagle.
Or a rat.
Yeah, because your wings and.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
And
Or
if
a
you,
rabbit with big ears.
yeah.
Like a tail.
and, yeah, if there was like a face, if it was a little different, like could look like a face of an eagle or something, then you got kind of the skull there.
Yeah.
Once you see it,
Things to say, Bill.
Yeah. Oh, I'm seeing all the pretty colors. Tom, there's no telling what you would do with it.
well, I see entangled cobras.
Yeah.
And the white is not blowing it out. I can't take a picture of anything white
I-
without blowing it out.
I know, and I took several pictures, and this was the one with the least, yeah, but white is just really hard. There's white mushrooms and they're interesting, and you take pictures of them, it just doesn't work.
Well, Helen, with your camera, you can put the manual,
Probably highlight that.
leave auto ISO on. No, don't leave it on,
Yeah, you can put it.
and you'll be able to have more control
Yeah.
by changing your aperture, your shutter speed, and especially with mirrorless cameras, I mean, you can watch it right there,
And you can
it'll
see it,
change,
right?
and then as soon as you're ready, press the button.
This is mine too.
It's an excellent art. Yeah, it's like a painting.
There's this branch that has, over the years, it's had that turquoisey
Huh.
color.
Copper?
I take lots of pictures, actually, many years ago, you saw pictures of it. And when I was doing color, I got this, but I didn't like the way the color turned out, and then I started playing around with the picture and finally got this. So I don't know if it's color, strange shape, or minimalism, but I wanted to show it to you all anyway, so
Beautiful.
here it is.
That's great. Beautiful. The colors.
I really like the turquoise, you
Yeah.
know, take a little around there, yeah, turquoise, anyway.
You gonna print this?
I could, but it's very, okay, so I looked at the ISO, I mean, the ISO is 25,600.
Wow.
So,
Well, it's not noisy.
No,
well, the branch above is very, if you look at the top of it, it's noisy, but maybe I could try to print it and see what it looks like.
did you try reducing the noise on your processor? You give that a try.
I'll try to do
Yeah,
that. I'll try to
that
do
could bring
that.
it down enough that you.
Yeah, and I'll see if
that
it
one
reduces
print.
For the reflective, that's great.
Yeah.
And I see it with a frame or a mat at least with the copper color, the turquoise.
Okay.
The newer noise reduction programs that are using AI instead of,
Yeah,
like the old Photoshop and so on, work a lot better on getting rid of noise.
Yeah,
yeah, so I'll try that.
And, you know, there's nothing to them, we just say, please reduce the noise.
Yeah.
Hit one button and they'll do what a remarkably good job.
And it'll show you before and after, and you can decide
Yeah.
mine does,
Yeah.
whether I'm gonna use it or not.
Try that.
But I don't know, there's so much motion and fluid.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was actually, I rotated this picture, because actually it's horizontal, but the original picture is vertical. And this is
Oh, okay.
horizontal.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh, I like what you did there.
That's- I-
Oh,
I
that's
like the one you
interesting
picked.
too.
yeah, I was.
That looks like an entry to a cave.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I kept playing around with it.
Do you have one of those topaz or, if you wanted to send me a file of that, it'd just take a minute to do that, I'll shoot it back and see if you like it or not.
Well, good shot. Definitely worth printing. And this one's excellent too.
So I did, actually bring a picture that was relevant for our discussion today.
It's very sharp.
But is that concrete? Did you put?
No, this is another thing that's interesting that maybe someday Bill can explain. Okay, this is my countertop in the kitchen. And
Oh,
there's
okay.
lights above, and I just let that light happen. This is actually just white formica, but when I use the enhance, the haze removal,
Yeah,
it does this.
It
It
does,
makes
okay.
it grainier and
Mhm.
grayer, and I don't know why. It just does it, but I like the effect.
oh, definitely.
But if you look at the countertop, it's just a white formica with a lot of scratches in it, so I took some of the scratches out.
It's a nice background for that color.
Yeah, I don't know why the haze reduction does that.
Well, it worked.
Yeah.
That's
It
very
very effective, but very minimalistic.
And I like that you did it on the diagonal.
Yeah.
All right. Bill?
Nope.
No, this is.
No? Oh, it's Chuck. Have my list and I didn't read it.
This is, when I think of minimalism, I'm drawn to landscapes in general anyway, but I really like expansive landscapes. And I've been learning how to use affinity. So this is an image that I shot last summer when we were in France. It's from Mont Saint-Michel, you know, that classic mound of rock to the north. But I just happened to get this bird in the shot, but so it just adds a little bit of visual interest. But it's quite, you can see it's very grainy looking at the bottom, kind of an abstract effect. And I was just playing around with affinity. I don't know if I could tell you exactly how I got there. I've been trying to be more systematic of late, so that I can really learn. I was just experimenting. So it brought out the original photograph. First of all, was a JPEG. Didn't ever save it as a raw image, and there was a lot of haziness in it, which was very soft. It was nice. There was really almost no cloud definition, but by messing around with some of the settings on Infinity, I got a very different look. So I liked it, so I kept it.
What is that in the sky?
It's a bird. That spot there is a I don't know what kind of a bird,
Oh,
but it's a bird in flight.
okay,
Yeah, it might be a pelican,
there you go.
but yeah.
I couldn't tell what it was.
Well, the bird and the rock on the third is one thing that's really good about this.
But it does have a kind of grainy texture.
It does.
Makes it look more like a watercolor.
Yeah, I like the graininess on the lower portion, the sand bar
Yeah.
there. I kind of liked it there. It makes it look like a charcoal effect or something.
If you ever want to share and ask questions about affinity,
Yeah.
I've worn him out.
Oh, he's past
So
me.
you could be
No, I don't
the new person that I will pester.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Bill,
I mean, as I discover things, I'm trying to just settle on a defined workflow right now, which I think I've found a pretty good guide and not go from there, but anyway.
Well, this is a good one, as is this one.
And this one, I really like the effect. This is Omaha Beach, and so it was the day after that I took that other one, and I think day after, but it was a very monotonish day and very gray, and this effect was somewhere in the levels submenu, but what it did was reverse the colors kind of,
Like a negative?
so, and I don't know if I could find my way back here, so I like that effect, but I don't like that I can't reproduce it, but anyway, I might be
You're
able
like
to.
Tom.
Yeah, sometimes I'm trying to get influenced by Tom, play
But
around
also
with that
Tom says,
stuff.
I can't remember how I did it.
Because some of that, some of those settings are really powerful, they do some incredible stuff. So anyway, yeah, I didn't note my settings, but this was probably F8 and, thank you, and it was, again, a JPEG and probably, I don't know, it was handheld, so probably 125th of a second or something like that, and it was probably 100 to 200 ISO. It might have been, probably 100 to 200 ISO. But anyway, so.
And Chuck, don't take this as criticism, but hopefully constructive. I'd get rid of the white spots in the lower part.
I was gonna say.
In the lower part,
Yeah.
Well,
And
one thing that I didn't really like, but I could have maybe cropped it differently, is how much there's negative space, how much negative space is down there. And the white stuff just draws attention to that.
But actually, that negative space on the bottom isn't bad because you have negative space above.
Yeah,
And this is one time where that rule of thirds really works out.
I could easily remove that white stuff down there.
There is some detail down in there. It's not just black, but anyway, good shot.
Yeah, there's this and there's that, but there's the overall, I have a bunch of stuff as you see things that I don't walk past and not see. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful overall shot. You could, maybe this would make it better, maybe that would be better, but the overall thing is just, I go, wow, why don't I see that stuff? And I don't,
Oh, thank you.
I have to share this. I don't know how he came to have it. He sent it to a few folks, but Mark Herboth has a slideshow. It's not talking. There's music behind it, but it is of one of the very early InFocus meetings. And I think what we were doing back then was we had to put our photos on thumb drives or send them to him before the meeting. And so I think they were all on a hard drive someplace, and then he had somebody work on. But one of the things that Mark says that I have said, I don't know how many times to this group, you look back at some of the early stuff, just no comparison. Just no comparison.
Yeah.
Everybody has gotten better. So, anyway, this would be Helen's.
Very nice.
Wow, what is it?
I don't remember.
It almost looks like that thing on that little barn by the goats.
Yeah,
The
right,
close-up shot of
the
it.
metal,
Yeah, I think it is okay. I was telling Lynn, Hetty, keep on, I try to go out weekly and use our cameras and try to learn. And we stumbled on an art show at Carolina Meadows. And I believe that this was one of a million little sculptures and pieces that I found. I think it was a peacock.
okay.
Made in Zimbabwe. It's for sale. If you want to go to Carolina Meadows, you might find it. But it's layered pieces of what, I don't know, tin.
Metal?
Yeah, rusty metal.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it is metal, and I played with it, not a lot. I cropped it and used the saturation slider.
So
and
you did increase the saturation
Yep,
a bit?
increase this saturation, and this is what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
Color.
really nice.
So you're shooting in raw, right?
Not shooting in raw.
Oh, you're not.
I've got too much complications going on trying to figure that doggone camera out. So,
Okay.
but that's what I ended up with.
Lovely.
See, there's a really tiny little camera down there in that corner.
It does look like, I think it's a bolt.
Yeah, a spot weld.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a weld to me.
Yeah. Well, this is great.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Oh.
That is nice.
I'll kill anybody that walks up to the TV and looks at it. Affinity. I was trying to learn how to use the best route to select and get rid of the background, because the background is pine trees. And it's just always too busy. So I worked on that thing and finally I learned 3 different ways to select. And then I learned how to do what I wanted to do with my tire last time, which was to put the gradients in it.
That's really nice.
Very nice.
Yeah, super shot.
But other than that, I didn't do anything to it. There's nothing left to do. I did, getting rid of the background is really all I did. But that was hours. It was more than, how long do you say? It was more than a basketball or a football.
That's a half a football game there.
That's right.
That was a whole football, that was probably 10 football games.
Did you, when you did the selection, did you use that, the selector brush tool? You can, and it has the edge aware,
It's
setting.
snap to,
or snap, yeah, you can do snap to, or, and then I think edge aware is another one, but
where I
I'm
messed
just
up
learning it too.
over and over and over, it would take out the statue and leave the
Oh, yeah,
background.
yeah.
But after to figure that out, and by the time I did, I had wrecked the edges of everything, so I had to go back and play with them, so.
One of the things I think is best about this is the gradation in the red as it goes from light to dark.
Yeah, I agree. And I just like the contrast of the red background and the light on the stone beneath the sculpture.
How high is this? How big is it? Oh, a couple feet?
No, you're saying from the floor.
Yeah, from the floor.
So
Oh.
4 feet or something, 4 or 5.
That's one of the larger pieces, that the other piece that had the weird background that I had last time was actually larger than that, and then there's another one. There were only about, I'd say, 3 large pieces, and this is one.
This is the
Is that over at
Carolina Meadows.
This is Carolina.
And I don't know how you did it, but the line on the right side is kind of yellowish, you know, where the sculpture is.
Oh, okay.
And also there's a little bit of it on the left side, and I think that really highlights, I don't know how you did that.
I don't know either.
It really highlights the sculpture, just a little
Is that
narrow.
not left over from changing the background?
Yeah. What I wanted to take time to do was to get rid of that about a little bit more than a third on the left tallest piece. There's a little shine right there, and I just didn't get there.
But I think in a way it accentuates it.
It's like a frame.
You know, Helen, something you could do, fool around with, would be to shift the gradient from the upper right-hand corner toward the lower left-hand corner. And to imply a source for that light. Because right now there's no source.
Yeah,
So if you get my meaning.
I get it. Yeah, I think I know.
And then also you could, at that point, you could grade the shadow as well.
I was just so thrilled to get it, because I
It's
tried
awesome.
to
It's really,
try
really,
last
really
time.
nice.
On my
Really nice.
bright, lime green tire, I don't know if you remember, I wanted a gradient in that so badly, and I finally got one of this one, and
And Helen, before you miss it totally, what was the word you used? Awesome?
Awesome.
This is Helen's.
I was just playing, and that is if elephant ear leaf, and there was water in the center. The odd thing was I wasn't expecting that black line around the drop, and I didn't know what to do with it, whether to try to take it out or leave it.
That was great.
I like the reflection of the sky in that drop.
Yeah, I bet that's what that is.
I didn't know what to do, so.
That was perfect.
Doing nothing was the right thing.
Leave well enough
It
alone.
was easy. By that time, I wanted easy.
Well, 3 great shots, Helen.
Really great.
And Bill is next.
You talk about minimalism, there's one bird floating in the big sky out there. This was way back in an archive, that's from about 10 years ago, over in Vinaros, Spain.
So you could take good pictures with that old camera?
Old camera. This was the G15 point and shoot.
Oh, wow.
So you spent all this money.
Yeah. Like, if you want, zoom in on that bird. Yeah, you would figure that you start zooming in and all of a sudden it would fade out. No. Look at
Oh,
this.
wow.
I printed that one time just for the yucks of it, 20 by 30, and you could still see every feather.
Sharp detail, yeah.
It's amazing.
So, and this is just out of the camera, haze reduction, and cropping. Because the original, I think, showed some of the Mediterranean out there as well.
And that was the G50?
G15, there's a
15.
little 12 megapixel point and shoot. That evidently I just panned just at the right speed to get it. It was on completely automatic, because I didn't know what I was doing at the time. It just happened.
Well, it's like they say the best camera is the one that
When you
you
have
have
to.
with you.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and it had set itself at like 2.8, this one was 1/1600th of a second, and it was like the lowest ISO, which is, I think, about 80 on that
That's
camera.
amazing.
It truly is
It
amazing.
just did it, I mean,
Well done.
and sometimes when you're on completely automatic, that's why it got that bird so well. Because when it's going, it's trying to find something with a lot of definition and the closest to the lens. So when everything else is way out there, automatic's not a bad thing.
That's why they call it a point and shoot.
Yep.
Well, the clouds did a favor as well.
Yeah, that's incredible. Were you shooting through glass?
Nope,
Where were you?
I was just standing at the end of this little cliff overlooking the Mediterranean and just,
Wow, I thought you must be in an airplane. That's beautiful.
Incredible, like it was said.
this is basically from the same place in Vinrose. I found this one only interesting because it's a tree.
Tree falling down. Nice.
Yeah, I mean,
That's in
Like the
Spain, you
waves
said, right?
stopped in the
yeah,
middle.
that's when we went over there to see if Spain might be a retirement location.
Oh, yeah.
And,
It came real close.
really,
It came real close. Only one thing,
You know, right now they're
no entiendo español.
And right now they're trying to discourage travelers.
Yeah.
Portugal, this place left, it'll take us, other than Costa Rica. Better be ready to go.
yeah.
I updated my passport.
All right, Bill.
Everybody go vote.
Tom,
Ooh,
bringing us home.
oh,
Wow.
wow.
So that's minimal.
Sure is.
Now, this is at Stanton River State Park. It's the junction of the Stanton River and I forgot the name of it. I thought it was the Dam River, but I was wrong.
What state is this in?
Virginia, just over the border in, you know where South Boston is? It's not far from South Boston.
So you ran up there last week?
State Park?
Stanton River State Park. Yeah, that's where Alice goes every year for her Star Party affair.
Oh, yeah.
For where all the amateur astronomers gather. And it's a bit of a problematic area for astronomy because while it's very, very dark, one of the darkest places on the East Coast, it's also very wet because there's these two rivers that I'm standing at the end of the park, the very end of the park, looking into, I think, Carr Lake. I think that's the top of Carr Lake. Yeah, I really like this. It has that sort of Japanesey look, and
Yeah, I like it.
it's color.
It is color. I was just gonna ask if
Yeah,
you did a monotone.
yeah, it's actually color. I really, really.
That car just pulled up and blinded me.
That's beautiful.
Sun reflecting off of it.
Would it be too much to plaster this one on a whole wall?
Yeah, great big print of it.
It's just beautiful.
Yeah. It's so peaceful.
Yes,
Oh, nice.
there's a great minimalist.
Yeah, this is what I call driveway sedge. It's just a little dinky little sedge that was sitting along the side of our driveway and all by itself. And I thought, oh, you want your picture taken? And so I took, this is when I first started trying to pull things out with very small things out out of the background.
It's not easy.
Well, it's fun, I really enjoy it.
So you use the selection tool of some kind?
I can't remember.
Yeah.
I have another way of doing it, in addition to selections where you cover everything with black and then remove the black.
Oh, yeah.
Usually I don't say
Like a
anything
fill
about
layer.
your photos, but I might crop out the top a little bit. Somehow
Too much at the
it
top.
seems a little
Too much
Tall.
space at the
too
top.
much space at the top, but, I mean, but your stuff is always
No,
fantastic, but
please.
just for
No,
some
that's,
reason, it seems like it,
right, I
crop out the top a little bit.
Well, that's so when it goes into the magazine, they have a place to put words.
That's true, you're right.
yeah.
I like to give stuff space and to breathe, so to speak, and so I like it like it is. I know what you're saying too, but
Did you do anything to the background, Tom, to get that? What was it? Just
Yeah, let's see, there's a pretty heavy vignette
Uh-huh.
on it, and
Oh, okay.
and it's actually, when you look at it really carefully, you can see I don't know, is it an artifact or something there? You can see little lines.
Wow.
My screen's so dirty, I can't see anything.
Yeah, I don't know, I don't know. But it's I put a heavy vignette on it.
Okay.
And I think that's maybe why I left, I don't know. But the one thing I like is that the sedge is not in the middle of the vignette.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I just liked it that way.
I like the contrast too.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, because you chose that fill color in the background, right?
Yeah, I chose that color.
Mm-hmm.
I can give you the stuff on it, not that it's particularly interesting, but ISO 800, 49 at 100.
The way it's lit, it looks like it was sunlight.
Yeah, it's sunlight.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I didn't have any pictures to show today. I would have been embarrassed. Great shots from everybody. Now, if I can figure out how to get out of this.
But I will, you might want to check and be sure that I'm speaking correctly, but I believe that the art is still at Carolina Meadows.
Yeah.
You have nothing to do
I
this
saw something,
weekend.
a write-up on it, and
Did you?
and I think it's, I forget when they said it was gonna be, I think it was next door or something.
So is it people from Carolina Meadows, or it sounds like it's people, it's
I don't
stuff
know
from
who
other
the surgeon,
places?
I do not know who the surgeon was, how they ended up there, or anything, but I think if you can find it,
Yeah.
it's on the Farrington, the old Farrington side.
Mike, did you get an email from me I sent one on Saturday, so.
Oh, geez, don't tell me.
Yeah, maybe it didn't get to you that day.
There's Frank.
Oh, that's not. Oh, I have it. I did nothing with it. I'm sorry.
That's right.
No,
Make
we
sure
can,
that my email's working.
well,
There it is.
I didn't get to these till sometime later than I should have. Let me,
So I think it still had the blue dot as unread.
yeah, and I didn't respond. And I always,
Usually you do, yeah.
well, I don't want to do injustice to these, so let me just put them up next time.
Okay.
And here I thought things were going so well. You want to call it a day and pick up the Senior Olympics next time? Let's do that. Oh, well, you're ready to rock and roll, so have it.
I got it back.
Yeah,
I shut it completely down, brought it back, and I got some kind of message from NordVPN about a kill switch. And I went in there and fixed it, and then
Oh,
Oh,
I'm back.
Okay, go.
The senior games, as we've always been discussing here, we tend to think of it as photographs and, you know, either digital or film, and some woodworking kind of things, but there's a big part of it that is athletic.
The biggest part.
Mhm, yeah.
And Frank, Minnie, and I had gone over there through the Chapel Hill Camera Club, because the club was chosen to photograph it
Oh,
for
cool.
future marketing.
Mhm.
So, we got over there, and this was the first time I tried anything like this, and I've been in kind of a photographic funk, so I haven't used my camera in months until
What?
I went
So
here.
it was, yeah,
And, it was interesting,
it was.
and what was good about it, it taught me about some of the things we did wrong, or I did wrong along the way, and some of the things I did right. So I thought I would share that with everybody, since we had some time today.
Mhm.
And these were just some of the first ones were the ones that were submitted by me. I took 196 images.
Yeah.
I think I had the least amount of the three of us.
Um,
Minnie took 1,200.
That I didn't do.
And tried to call through that and find 20 or 25.
What was there, about 3 hours, I guess?
About 3 hours, yeah. And the whole idea was to try to capture, you know,
Competition.
people doing this, how they felt, you know, the emotion of it, things like that. And I had just gotten down to the infield when this guy was just finishing up a race. I mean, I wasn't ready, I just put it on him and pressed the button. And he just has such a look to him. You know, with his bandana on, he feels like he's just done something and he's happy about it. So,
This is a running race, or?
Yeah,
yeah, and
they had a big track there, and
Yeah.
they had a whole number of different age groups.
Where was it?
It was at this track, field up in Durham, it was
at Duke University,
something like that, yeah, it was like a track and field. And it was like a little mini stadium, and you had the track around the center of it. And then they had the other things like the discus throwing and shot put and all that up on this hill, right near it.
That's a great picture.
It is.
Depth of field is what helps it a whole
Yeah,
lot.
yeah.
and that was one of the problems. One thing that I identified that next time I would think differently is I brought my 28 to 400 with me.
Mhm.
Now, that starts off at f4 at the low end, but it quickly gets up to f8. So some of these shots I'm shooting at f8, a higher depth of field than I would have wanted to.
Yeah.
I probably would have been just fine with my 24 to 120.
Mhm.
Right. And
We
that
were
was
close.
f4 all the way through, and I could have created that separation more. So on some of the images, what I did is I selected the runner and did a little blurring on the background just to create the separation.
Mhm.
Okay. Huh,
He was a character, he was good.
I can't figure out why
Can't advance.
I can't go.
Can't stop over to the next.
Yes, let me try something. Maybe I should just go here.
Start at share screen. There we go.
Yeah. But now it doesn't expand.
What does
What
one have
if
to
you double
just
click on an image?
Well, when I did, that's what I got on mine, but
Oh, good.
it's not going up there.
It's not going on the
It's not
screen,
showing it
yeah.
there.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
like go down to that share.
Jeez.
Let me go here again.
It said share.
Now, open this up. I've done this.
Share.
Now go to share. Make sure this one is selected. And share.
Yep.
There he is.
Oh, wow.
What was his name, Dr. Rosen?
Dr. Rosen.
He's what, 94 or something?
How old is he?
94.
Yeah,
Oh, my
He is the
goodness.
oldest
Yeah.
one. Now, Senior Games does allow them up to 99.
Yeah.
So, but he was in every so-called running event
Yeah.
there was. He was finishing up a 1,500 meter, which is just under a mile.
Wow.
And what you'll notice in the background, all those women, they're waiting for their event to happen, but they have to wait until Dr. Rosen gets all the way down, have to go around, come back and finish over the finish line.
He was the last guy in, I take it.
Yeah.
And this was an important one to, when you talk about perspective, is to get a little on the low side. You know, don't always take from here, get down a little bit where you're kind of looking up at them, more or less like at belt level instead of,
Good for him.
Yeah.
but
Oh, he got such a standing ovation.
Yeah. when he crossed that line.
And I heard that, you know, like Bill said, it was, max was 99. The guy who was 100 showed up and they said, you can't compete. You're beyond the limit.
They're too old for the Senior Olympics.
Senior 99.
Yeah, really.
That's the back end of the hospital, isn't it?
I think that you're probably right.
Yeah, that's just the Durham Athletic Park where.
Yeah.
Those look like 30-year-old seniors.
Yeah, I don't know if I guess what, 30, I forget what it is.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I know.
But this was the same
Yeah,
group that was behind Dr. Rosen.
What I love is their feet are off the
In,
ground.
in cycling, anything,
Yeah.
I think 35, you become a master.
And that's what the value of shooting,
35.
what I did is I set my camera to
Age
shoot
rated.
5 frames per second.
40 plus, 50 plus, 60 plus.
So if it takes them 2 seconds to come by me, I'm looking for that one, which is that one.
Yeah. Well, it was a beautiful day.
Nice
too.
shot.
Knee brace and all.
Yeah, this one kind of, like what I felt is that there's 2 different groups of people that go out there and do this. The people who like to stay healthy, but they don't take it too serious.
Yeah,
And I see these 3 as being not, the crazy serious type people. They're out there, they competed, they won in their county, and now they're competing for the state, which there's 3,600 people
State
who,
senior games, so not,
Yeah.
okay.
the one must have seen somebody or me gave a thumbs up.
Yeah, he did. He looks kind of,
Mad.
what are you doing?
Now, this one shows both,
mhm.
because see the 2 in the back, which are the casual kind of runners, staying in good shape, like the enjoyment, but then you have the one that seems like she's completely into it.
Yeah. Like, I'm serious.
Yeah, she is serious.
Look, she's a weightlifter, look at those
Look at those
muscles.
arms,
Look
would
at
you
that.
please?
And I think that guy sitting in the back is the guy with the bandana before.
Yeah, I think so too. I recognize it.
That's the trouble with backgrounds, when you're doing something like this, it's always fluid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, would you prefer to not have it or to have it? I like that.
Yeah. It should show that there's stuff going on. This guy, he's a maniac. This guy was so good at running,
he looks pretty fit.
and he was just finishing up his 1,500 meters, which is just under a mile in 6
Oh my,
minutes, 17
God.
seconds.
Nice.
Jeez.
Yeah.
and he is not a spring chicken.
So what I was doing, I was sitting there at the finish line, just waiting for him, and again, did the 5 frames per second. Because I knew if I started doing 10 or 20 per second, I'd be like Minnie having 1,000,
Yeah.
and I don't want to do that.
You could go crazy with that.
So I was able to get his finish time and him,
Uh-huh.
both together right there.
That's nice.
Oh,
And
oh, that shot's a good one.
Yeah. This was
it shows
just
a lot
one,
of action.
yeah.
I think there's some ringers in this one too, like 96. He doesn't look,
This guy, I love the look on his face.
Yeah.
You know, like, he's taking his deep breaths. He's going down to the finish line, and everybody else is well behind.
What event was this one, do you know, Bill? Like, what's
I
the
don't
distance? Yeah.
Look at his leg muscles, though.
Yeah.
We need to go home and work out.
Now, this
Oh,
one,
look,
this guy,
huh,
he was so far ahead
jeez.
of the rest of the group, and I don't know if this was 1,500
Yeah,
or not, because that's a pretty,
that's a damn good time.
and but he was a monster.
He's turning his watch off, he's
And
doing his stuff.
as he came around, and he was probably 50 yards from the finish, and he started cramping up. You could just see him cramping up, but he had so much on everybody else. And you can see it in his face, you can see his legs. He was, and just as he passed that timer, he fell onto the track.
Oh.
He was in so much pain, and people came over and got him up and stuff like that. But yeah, just this lady, I don't know why I thought. Maybe it looks like one of my neighbors or something, but
meaning what,
she
Bill?
looks focused. She
I like
looks
her
like she
socks.
wants to be there.
She's chugging.
Yeah.
This one I love.
Looks very determined.
This is
Oh, yeah.
almost my favorite one.
Uh-huh.
Seeing, here there's one on the right that looks completely into it, and one on the left looks a little more, like the flower child.
It's like a fashion,
But they're both at the same pace, they're both,
Yeah,
I love that hair.
Yeah.
That probably reduced her time or increased her time.
Yeah, but it's,
Wind resistance.
this one was just, I waited for the one in the back to just be over the shoulder of the other one,
Yeah.
but, this one they wouldn't, this one they didn't accept because they considered this a buckshot.
really?
Yeah, now,
That's
most
crazy.
other people that were photographing it were
On the other side.
on the other side toward her, so I thought I'd be different.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go in the back, and I'm gonna, so I
Just as she wants.
yeah, a whole different, and look at her hair, it's in abundance,
Yeah.
gray hair, and she catapulted off there. And then, think of Dr. Rosen. And I just love watching this because I see these people doing this stuff that I'm not doing.
Yeah.
There's a little old black lady, she must have been about this tall, she was doing a running broad jump. But evidently she won her county.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
She was probably the only one.
just like Dr. Rosen. But yeah, I mean, you get a whole sense of people when you go see something like this. That's kind of different.
So,
This is the picture that a little further back, showing a little more context of what's
Yeah, right.
going on.
And
This one, you can see
You can see the ball.
the ball up there.
The person with the towel on his head, or her head,
And a
the
dog.
background.
Yeah,
Yeah, I had to learn that a little bit to, whoops.
it was a hot day.
Yeah, Dark County Memorial
That was it,
Stadium.
yeah.
They just redone it sometime in the last few years.
Oh, this guy,
It's a nice facility.
Well, Central uses it for their football games, and I think some of the high schools
Oh,
do
okay.
it, but Central uses it. But,
Look at that
Yeah,
face.
this guy had-
Grimace.
I got the ball just as it was leaving his.
Well, and how much does that thing weigh?
600 pounds.
Might feel like it. I don't know how big those shot puts are.
I don't know how much they ate.
This guy, everybody was wondering, how did he throw it so far? This guy,
You,
not today. Uh, Yeah, even the people that were going out and measuring it, they had to go further out. Because this guy was able to throw that.
Yeah.
Can you zoom in on his face? Because the other guy's face was so amazing.
Look at him.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Yeah, he just catapulted that thing out.
Yeah.
I wonder if a lot of these people were athletes in high school
It
or
could have been,
college.
yeah.
or-
Yeah, they were in better shape than I
Well, it's
was.
not like you take a throwing shot put when
No.
you're 70 or
No.
something.
No.
She had a nice form.
There's probably another one they won't show, you know.
Yeah.
But,
And what, I'm trying to remember, Bill, these photos that everybody's, they're gonna show up in there.
Big guy.
Oh, geez.
On it. Wow.
And, oh, he's throwing a curveball.
They're gonna show up on those, brochure.
any kind of marketing that they do for the senior,
Oh,
but just looking at that, the ripple in his hand there.
Jeez.
The two-figure.
That guy was a linebacker.
so when there were athletic teams and we were teenagers, these were the people who were picked first.
Now, let's see, I have to go out and I might come back in, let's see if this.
Thanks for sharing those.
Yeah, that's so great.
You did a great job.
We had a challenge on sports at one point, I think.
Mm-hmm, we did.
Frank, you've got some nice baseball pictures.
what is our next challenge?
Oh, I don't believe it.
Household still life.
Yes. Let's see.
Household still.
FedEx,
Today was
Delivered.
on the household still life.
after I paid extra. We paid.
Well, extremely good meeting. What's the next challenge?
Household
Household still
Still
life.
Household still life. So take a picture of your, do a selfie of
Have
sleeping.
somebody throw a shot put in your living room. Get a picture of that as it goes through the window.
From front to back.
There he is. He was quite a guy.
Now, by shooting, 5 frames per second, this is when the shot was fired to start it, you can see
Oh, you can
the
see that.
starter.
Yeah.
Actually, Minnie went over to the front of him. But then,
Oh, okay.
you can just kind of see
Oh,
why
yeah.
shooting at
It's like a
like
movie.
5 frames per second, or some number like that,
Some of those people sure don't look like they're seniors.
Yep.
That's probably the youngest, would be my guess, yeah, 40 something.
And could they,
To the door.
What's the minimum age?
35, did you say, Chuck?
I was guessing like in cycling competition, the masters, so-called masters begin at, I think it's 35, but definitely there's a group 40 plus.
Is that Tom?
60
Yeah, right.
plus, you know.
It didn't look all like Tom.
Nope.
Yeah, no, in the bike racing that I do, one of the biggest categories right now for entries, total entries is the men's 60 plus group, and those guys are fast.
Because they had an event, I know Minnie went, that was on the last Sunday, she went to film, photograph that, I forget where it was.
A bike, bicycle?
Bike, yeah,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
Whoa.
could have been a,
We were there on a Thursday, that week, we were there on a Thursday, and then,
where was that from?
with the biking,
Yeah,
yeah, she told me and I forget.
there's like so-called Grand Fondos, which are, rides to support a cause of some kind. They're not really races, they're more like a rally, I guess.
Yeah,
But they do put a clock on you a lot of times,
yeah.
so that makes it sort of a race.
Okay, well, I'm going to sign us off.
Okay.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
Thank you all.